now tuned in to the Premier Hotspur TV. Sit back, get involved, comment away, because we are live.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Premier Hotspur TV. It's your man Simon, North of England's biggest Spurs fan. Yes guys, we're back again with another Q&A tonight guys. We haven't got my co-host tonight, Matt. He can't make it, but I have got a special guest in here, guys. You've probably seen him before, guys. It's Lee, the Dorset Spur. Lee, thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving up your time, mate, for coming onto the channel. How's it going?
Yeah, no problem, mate. Anytime. I'm more than happy to support anybody with these kind of things. So yeah, I'm doing all right. Got a couple of weeks holiday, so that's how I managed to be around. Normally, I'll be getting ready for bed now, so no problem.
Absolutely, Lee. Thanks for coming on, mate. Before we get into it, guys, we've got the Yid kid. Congrats on your 500 subs. Yeah, nice one. Thank you for that, pal. Top 943, well done, Si and Matt. 500 subs. You smashed it. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. And guys, before I ask Lee anything, there's this one, guys. It is the protest on Saturday, guys, the 15th of May, guys, 12:30 outside the club shop. Don't suffer in silence, guys. Support us for change. Either out and leave me out, guys. And Lee, the first question I always ask when someone new on the show. I just want to know about your background and sort of type how you got into supporting Spurs. So why Spurs?
Well, I come from Hackney originally, so when I was growing up in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, there was only three teams that you'd go for where I lived: Tottenham, West Ham, and Arsenal. And because where I lived was kind of right in the midst of all of them, and my school friend, I'll give him a shout out, Leslie Knight. He said to me, "Why don't you come to Tottenham with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not? I'll give it a go." I was 11. I was 11 years old, 1978, and went to Tottenham and went into the cage, as it was known. Well, certainly by me and some of the guys I went with, up at the top in the shelf side there. And the atmosphere was fantastic. It was full of skinheads and punk rockers and all that kind of jazz. And every time there was any kind of action, there was like just swarms of people just moving. You couldn't feel your feet on the floor and all that. And then we had the ticket tape going off because of Ozzy and Ricky, and that was it. Fell in love, and I couldn't get away from it after that. And it's been stuck in my heart ever since.
Absolutely, that's a fantastic story. We've just got some couple of comments we're going to go through here. We've got the UK thoughts on the club official statement. Yes, that's one of the questions I want to ask Lee. Lee will have his thoughts on. Reynolds says Man City are champions. Yes, Reynolds, congratulations for this season, mate. Looks like you are going to go to go on to win the league and the Champions League. I don't mind Man City, Lee. I really don't. I like watching City and anyone else in the league. But I got a little soft spot for Pep. I think he's fantastic. Chris says, what do you think of our club's new thing? Yes, we're going to go through that, guys. Paul says, thanks for coming in, Paul, as well. Congratulations on reaching 500. Thanks, pal. City are champions here. Nippon says, congratulations. Congratulations on 500 subs. Facts and stats are in here. All right, Si, great to see your channel growing and you're getting a recognition. You fully deserve it, pal. Thank you very much. Facts and stats. And Keelan says hi. So guys, keep your chats coming in, guys. Ask any questions to Lee. I'll get over to Lee and hopefully he can answer it as best he possibly can. Smash the like, subscribe if you already haven't, guys. And if this one here, Lee, I want to ask you, what's been your best Spurs moment since, as you said, since 78 there? You've been supporting a long time. You've been through so many great times and bad times. What was just the best moment, Lee? Your best moment, like you'll cherish, you'll take away.
I always pull this one out, and there's been some great times, obviously, at Spurs. A lot of it been around the camaraderie with your mates and that kind of stuff, rather than the actual football itself. To be fair, certainly for some periods. But for me, as a kid, the FA Cup was always really, really special. It used to be on from 9 o'clock in the morning right through till after the game, and you'd have the two team supporters doing things like there was this classic show called It's a Knockout and all that kind of stuff. And it used to be on all day, and you'd watch the build up and all the rest of it with the players going to the ground and the coaches and stuff. So to be able to be at an FA Cup final and see your team lift the FA Cup, for me, will always be a special, special moment. Now that FA Cup has lost a lot of its charm now. I get that. But for me, it's still one of the most magical things for me. I think in 81, I was about, I think it was 15, and standing in the old Wembley watching Steve Perryman lift the FA Cup was a moment I'll never ever forget. And straight afterwards, we all went down to Trafalgar Square, and we was all in the fountains and stuff like that. And it was a really good time. It was one of the things I'll always remember for me. So yeah, and there's been some other great times as well. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but for me, that was probably the first real special moment. And that's why it always kind of sticks with me, seeing Ricky Villa sort of weave his magic and put that in the back of the net, and you knew it was ours, and that was it. So, yeah, for me, still a special, special time.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen videos of that cup final as well, but I was a bit too young for that one. But to me, Lee, when you go on the FA Cups, I always go back, because my very first memory of an FA Cup win was 1991. When we lifted the FA Cup, and Gasser broke his leg in that final. That was horrendous. That was horrendous. That was. But mate, we went on to win it, and seriously, that's probably my best moment. Because we haven't had much, mate, since I've been born.
No, there's not been a lot since then, has there? So not a lot to get happy about.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the best moment I can come up with. Seriously, 1991, absolutely fantastic day that was. And you're actually spot on there, Lee. When you go about the FA Cup, you was spot on. It used to be a whole day thing. I remember the 91. It was a whole day thing. You're correct. It was like the whole day. You had your fans outside the stadium. They'll speak to them. They'll speak to the other fans. And now it just, as you said, I think the magic of it's gone, mate. It really has. It just absolutely half. It's like an hour before kickoff and things like that. It's just, I think it really has gone. Michael says Chelsea will beat City in the Champions League. Thank you for that, Michael. Gillen says thoughts on the fans being on the board, making key decisions according to Jonathan Unveil 93. Yeah, I'll get onto that. I'll ask Lee in a minute about that one. Spurs debate says big up Lee. Thank you for Josh for coming in, mate. Absolutely fantastic. The kid says my dad is running around the house singing Lucas Thomas. Nippon says Mora hat-trick versus Ajax. C say yes, Jess Lee. Kidden says ask Lee who he wants as new manager. That's one of my questions. Guys, thanks for being. I think you're coming up with the same questions that I've got as well. I've got questions in the back to save up. So the first one, Lee, we will go to it. There's people in the chat want your answers on this question here, mate. What do you think of the club statement actually today? And this picture here, mate, just sums it up. It's absolutely these clowns here of this club. Do you think this is a PR stunt, Lee? Do you think it's a timing that they know this protest is coming out on Saturday, and they're trying to soften the blow and trying to say, listen, we are apologetic now, trying to get some of these fans not to go to the protest? Is it the timing's all wrong? Do you reckon they should come out straight away when the Chelsea owners come out, when the Liverpool owners come out? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I said to I put a thing on Twitter answering the same question that someone else put. David, the Irish Yiddy, but he put a question on asking that same question, and I'll tell you what I told him. It's almost like the apology your mum makes you give when you've broken your little brother's toys. You don't really mean it, and you're gonna break his toys again, but you have to say it because your mum says you've got to say it, and that's it. And for me, that's how it sums it up. It's just one of those, it's too little, too late. Just trying to appease people and put a little bit of a damper on things. Daniel is listening. He is listening. He can hear, what the fans are saying and that. For me, the guy don't give a monkeys about what you think. He's got his own agenda. He's got his own vision of where he sees things going and what they're going to do. and nothing's going to dissuade him against it. That's my opinion. For me, they should have apologised straight away. They should have come out and said, look, we got it wrong. If they really meant it, they should have come out and said that. But they didn't. They've dragged it out, and with the mounting pressure that they're getting from the protest and that the people are talking about, they've had to say something, and it just smacks of that for me. And when they're talking about, a fan's voice on the board and all the rest of it, an elected person, well, who's electing them? Are we electing them, or are they electing them? How do you put in for it? And there's too many questions. And I know that it's early days and all the rest of it, but for me, I just think you're just playing politics. You're just playing politics to try to appease people. It's like Donna Cullen has told Daniel Levy to put something out. The PR people have kind of got him to one side and say, look, Daniel, you've got to say something. And he's probably ranting around, goes, Sodom, and then someone say, no, just calm down. Just say this. You're saying sorry. You're not really sorry, but you're saying sorry. And that's kind of how it feels for me.
Yeah, absolutely, Lee. I said, mate, it was this one as well. I think there's this one here. Yeah, he said with this, and he goes on to say that we are disappointed that the board of the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust has not yet met with the club, the trust whom we've worked and needed promoted for 20 years, has called recognitions of the executive board over the ESL. Individuals who have lived and breathed this club for best part of the 2 decades. We have offered as several occasions to meet board to board and discussed an open agenda, excluding a change of club ownership and recognization of the board. Our door remains open. So, do you believe that they'd say they're disappointed with the trust hasn't met with the board? I don't believe it. I think the trust has literally they've gone there I think numerous times, Lee, trying to talk to this board and everything like that. Do you actually believe that?
Nah, not at all. I think the I don't know a lot about the trust, if I'm being honest. I don't get too involved in it. I've met a couple of the guys that are in it, and they are proper Tottenham fans who really care about the club. They get an awful lot of stick, from people, but someone's got to do that role. But I mean, for the club to say we'll talk to them about anything apart from the 2 things that everyone else is talking about, what's the point then? What's the point in meeting you if we can't say, look, the fans want you out? What's the point if we can't say that? They need open and honest dialogue. Now, I'm not saying that we can get them out. We can't make them sell. We can't make Joe Lewis get rid of Daniel Levy. We can't make them do it, right? But they've got to understand the depth of feeling and what is required to change that opinion, because it's growing and growing and growing, right? And this point about, they've lived and breathed the club for 20 years. Well, hold on a minute. I've been going to this club since I was 11 years of age, right? 44 years that I've supported this club. Not like, I know guys that have been going 50 years and plus that have travelled home and away across the world, living and breathing this club. And no one can live and breathe a club more than the fans, right? Because we care more than anybody. Managers come and go, players come and go, boards come and go, owners come and go. The fans always stay, right? So for them to make a stupid statement like that, I think that kind of sums it up for me. We've lived it for 20 years. Well, yeah, so have we. We've been there for 20 years with you. We've watched you, dismiss manager after manager after manager. We've seen you not invest in the team. We've seen you, not bring us any kind of silverware and make us a laughing stock. We've been there. We've had all that. We've had to put up with it. We've had to put up with a lot more than you have for 20 years, So for me, I just think, wow. Again, it's just another PR comment, our door's always open. It's the sort of thing that managers say to unions and unions say to managers and politicians say to other politicians, Israel, yeah, we're open to talk to the Palestinians and the Palestinians are open to talk, and all the while they're bombing each other. So, for me, it's just politics. It don't really mean anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with it, mate. And this is the other side of it as well. And he said, we're excited to be welcoming 10,000 fans back next week. Not surprised. Our stadium will hopefully soon open to full attendance and non-football events will return. Like many clubs, we shall need to recover from the loss of the substantial revenues. The still new stadium is the game changer in our progress. It will deliver the revenues for investment in the first team. Be assured we are absolutely clear that the heartbeat of the club is success on the pitch and our fans. It's important to now get behind Ryan and the team as we look to finish the season as strongly as possible and to strive for retain a European spot. What do you think of that, Lee?
Yeah, it's got those messages in there. Yeah, we're charging you 60 quid because we need the money, right? We want you to get behind Ryan and the team, so please don't protest inside the stadium. It's those veiled comments, isn't it? More than anything, they're just kind of, glossing over it, trying to appease people. It's like the free food. Oh, we're going to give you a free meal and all the rest of it if you come to the club, come in early enough to get your free food. That way, you'll be spending more money in the bar. You won't be in the pub spending the money. You'll be in the club spending the money. So we'll get our food money back that way. It's just all about money, money, money. And I know this is a business, right? Football is a business, and it needs money. But we all know the amount of money they get from TV. They don't need fans in the stadium, right? We know that. That's how they survive. I mean, I live in Poole, and in Bournemouth, you've got a club that's got less fans available in their stadium than we've got in the South Stand, right? And yet they were still able to outspend us over the last 5 years, right? So it's all relative, but again, it's all just politics. It's all just politics to try to dampen it down. I guarantee you they'll be looking at the banners that people are bringing in. They'll be looking at who's where, and they'll be trying to keep them off. They'll be turning down the bloody microphone so no one can hear them booing and all that, But it depends who gets the tickets. It depends on who won the ballot to go in there. And what their views are on what the club's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, mate, that second one I just put up there, that just tells me they're not going nowhere. Doesn't matter this protest, mate. I just hope these protests can continue as well after this one. We try and get our voice across, but to me, what they're saying there, mate, they're literally not moving nowhere at this present moment. And we've just got a couple of comments in there, mate. Nippon says, would you take this is the guy from Atalanta. Yeah, that's for one of my questions. I'm gonna ask Lee in a minute. Mark says, do you think Spurs should sign Carlo Ancelotti? I think what he did at Chelsea in 2009, 2010, I think he would leave Everton for you guys. Yes, I'll put that question to Lee in a minute, mate. Thanks for that, Michael. The Yid Kid says Leverley is just doing this because he is scared of the protest. Michael says he is the man for you guys. Will be Magic back and Kane will stay. And Nipan says the Yid Kid, he should be scared. Just turn up on Saturday. Keelan says, I do think fans are going to be a big part going forward for the football, according to the government fan. And Keelan says that he turned it down this time. Michael says, well said, mate. The Yid Kid says, Nipan, I'm rooting for you guys. All right, then, just talking about Chelsea there. Congratulations on 500. Thanks for that, pal. Nipan says, yeah, they're talking about that again. And yes, AD, all right, Governor. How's it going, AD? Thanks for tuning in from Facebook. So, guys, before I get to my next question for Lee, keep the comments coming, guys. Smash the like. Just bring your questions in for Lee, and I'll get them over to Lee. And if you're on Facebook, guys, do exactly the same, guys. So Lee, I just want to know your feelings, mate, on Enoch and Leverley. I've heard bits and pieces there. What you're saying there, mate. Just tell us and tell everyone. Honest truth, mate. Do you know what I mean about Levy? Some people do actually think they're doing a good job on the commercial side and are actually doing a good job for the club. So everyone's got their own opinions, which I respect. I mean, so just what do you think, mate? What do you think? on Daniel Levy and ENIC?
So, I guess. So, I honestly don't think that, and I don't mean it to be disrespectful to anybody. Okay, I don't think the protest is going to make an awful lot of difference. I think ENIC are there and they're there to stay. I think in terms of commercial business and so on, you cannot knock the work that they've done, right? So they've delivered a fantastic stadium. Great. Do you care? I don't. I'll be happy to watch them on Hackney Marshes. You know, I'm not bothered about a fantastic stadium. I like the old one. It was all right, you know. Yeah. But I understand that football is an evolving business, right? So you've got to have the infrastructure there. So, same with the training facilities. The players might like it. They might like having a nice place to go and have a sauna and all the rest of it. But to me, it makes no difference at all. They can go run through Epping Forest. You know, I don't care, right? All I want is success on the pitch, right? So in terms of ENIC, they've done a fantastic job at building an infrastructure around a club that was in decay, that needed investment, that needed, you know, to start moving forward. In terms of the football side of it, you know, they've done absolutely nothing but take us through a dire period. The only luck really that they've had is the fact that Harry Kane has turned into a world-class striker, and Pochettino took us to places that we never dreamed of going when he took over, and that was luck. That wasn't Daniel Levy doing a great job of bringing in a great manager in Pochettino. That was just one of those things, you know. So for me, I would much rather see Daniel Levy step aside. Go look after the football, the non-football side of things. Get us someone naming rights, get us some money, get us all that kind of stuff. But get somebody else to look after the football side of it. Mm-hmm. I don't think ENIC as a company, I mean, they are just an investment company after all, right? So I don't think they are particularly the problem. I think Daniel Levy's the problem in terms of his stubbornness to go outside of what he wants. And he has no feeling for what the fans want. And I know it's a difficult balance because all we want is spend, give us the best players. But unless you're someone like Man City, for instance, who can afford to do that, or PSG who can afford to do that, everybody else is going to have to struggle behind them. So the only other thing I would say is you've got to be careful with what you wish for, because you don't know who you're going to get. You know, it's all well and good saying, oh, let's have some Arab money, or let's have some Russian, you know, billionaire turn up. You know, I mean, there was a Russian billionaire took over Pompey, and look how that turned out, you know. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you've got to be careful around it. But there definitely needs some change. 20 years not delivering silverware on the pitch is too long. And in any other business, Daniel Levy would have lost his job.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So Lee, you're adamant that they're not going nowhere. These protests, that it may not work, or to get these.
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they won't go anywhere. I think they'll make a difference in terms of raising people's opinion and knowledge and understand about what we want. But I don't think they will change Daniel Levy or ENIC's pursuit in what they want to do.
So Lee, what would you be happy with? Would you be happy with Daniel Levy and ENIC coming out and saying, "Listen, this is our ambition"? Is this the whole idea of this this protest as well? We want to know what's the ambition going forward now as this club, from Daniel Levy and ENIC. Where's the direction now? Which way are we going to go in? And things like that. Would you be happy with something like that? Would you be happy with them coming out and say, "Listen, this is what we're going to do. This is our plan"? Is that something that many of us as fans that will like to see?
I think most of us would like to know what direction we're going. I mean, that statement before, it said, you know, time to get behind Ryan and the boys. Well, we don't think Ryan Mason is the man for the job as fans, generally speaking, from what I've seen. So, you know, is that the answer, right? So you want to know where are we going? What's the plan? You know, I understand that would placate people to a certain extent, because at least they'd know what we're aiming for, what we're trying to achieve here. But at the moment, all we know is we're going to go into this Super League. That then got cancelled or got kiboshed. So therefore, we can't do that. Where do we do now? We're all in limbo. We've got no manager. We've got players not signed to long enough contracts. We've got lots and lots of deadwood in the club that we need to shift. What's the plan? Are we entering into a situation of another project? So are we going to get someone like Scott Parker or Graham Potter or someone like that and enter into a project? Or are they going to go out and get some superstar manager, and spend like they've never spent before to bring that silverware in? And I guess that's the question for me. And I think in terms of process, I think people just want to have their say, and I'll totally respect that. People want to have their say. They want to go out there and they want to say, not happy, want Daniel Levy out, whatever. And that's their right to do so, and I don't knock anyone for it. But I know from previous experience of watching Daniel Levy, he's not a man who's just going to change his direction because of other people's feelings. But that's just my opinion. I look at Newcastle fans protesting. I look at back in the day Leeds fans protesting when with all the problems that they had, all those years ago. Them down the road who we don't really want to talk about. I mean, look how long they've been protesting. And has anything changed for them? It hasn't. And these guys they're too powerful. And I think that the thing that the government said about having some kind of fan input, I think is the important thing. I think if we could get some kind of thing whereby there's a fans charter that they have to sign up to and say major decisions such as leaving the Premier League and creating a Super League or selling the club or whatever should be something that is openly discussed with the fans before any decisions are made. If the government can force something like that through, then I'm all for that. I'm all for that for sure.
Absolutely, I'll be definitely up for that as well, Lee. So I'm going to put you on the spot here, Lee. Do you think these guys here, for what they've done for 20 odd years now, do you still believe that these are the guys to take Tottenham forward for the next couple of years, or do you think time is up for these guys and we start looking elsewhere for another owner? Which it's easy said and done. We know that. But what's your opinion? Do you actually see these here for the next 5-10 years?
I do. I'm not saying I want them to, but I do see them still being there unless someone comes in with mega money to take it away. I don't necessarily think that it's ENIC that's the problem. As I said, I think Daniel Levy's the problem. I think his stubbornness and all the rest of it, and that's the issue for me. So I do think it's time for change. I do think something needs to change. Ideally, for me, it would be let's get rid of Daniel Levy and get a proper football person in to make key decisions around football. I just don't know who's going to come in and buy it. Unless you're getting a Jeff Bezos to come in or someone like that. Who's got the clout to really challenge these guys, your Chelsea owners, your Man City owners, who's got the clout to do that. So I think it'd be very, very difficult to do. I mean, Joe Lewis is an old man. I mean, I don't know what his family ties are in terms of the club, whether his family would want to keep it going or whatever. So that may be a game changer in terms of if he's holding in the club, once, the inevitable happens. Where does it go from there? But I don't see them stepping down. I think the club, they've invested a lot of money in the infrastructure and stuff. As much as we complaining about it on the pitch, in terms of the infrastructure and stuff, there's been a lot of investment, and they've obviously got a lot of plans as well. We've seen it with them, buying up other properties and the hotel thing that they was doing and flats and all that kind of malarkey. So I think they've got a long-term business plan that they won't want to back out of because it must be pretty lucrative. It's just the football side of it because it just doesn't stack up when you're a fan.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're saying, unfortunately, you can see them being here for a few more years yet. So when you was going on earlier about like the City owners, the Chelsea owners, the filthy rich owners, Would you be happy with something like that happening at Tottenham, or do you think that's a bad move for Tottenham because we don't know where it will end up? Because as you said, look at Pompey, what happened to Pompey didn't work out there. Or do you actually say to yourself, do you know what? I'll love something like that. We just want trophies here. We ain't seen trophies for them. Like we're not on talk about a League Cup or FA Cup. We're on about leagues. You know what I mean? And Champions Leagues and things like that. We ain't seen it for a long, long time. So would you be happy with someone like that coming in, a big owner, just to say, listen, I'll give you what it is to win these leagues?
Absolutely, truthfully, right? I'll put my hand on my heart, right? I would take anybody who wants to bring silverware into the club, and if that meant some super rich guy coming in or girl coming in and doing what they did at Man City or at Chelsea, of course I would take it. As a fan, I'd love it. You know, you don't see Man City fans crying that it's being done the wrong way, it's all just money, or Chelsea fans that have been lording it over. And I've got a cousin who's a Chelsea fan who always reminds me about how well they've done, you know. So, you know, of course I'm going to take it. Of course I'm going to take it, because ultimately all I want is the silverware. I want to be giving the two-finger salute to them down the road. I want to be top in London. Of course you do. Of course you do. Is it the right thing? Is it the right thing? No, of course it's not, because it's the way football's going, and it's, for me, it's ruining the game. As soon as, when you talk about Neymar when he went to PSG, what was it, 200 million or something ridiculous?
Yeah,
it just inflated all the prices of all the players. So you've got two bob players now worth 30, 40 million, right? You know, and it's not about Neymar going for that sort of money. It's about the trickle down effect for everybody else. So the amount of money that's in football, for me, is ruining the game, right? Because it's all about money, and it's pushing, you know, top clubs. I mean, if you look around at teams that have really rich histories, you know, your Nottingham Forests, your Aston Villas, you know, your Leeds Uniteds, you know, these clubs were once, and they're still great to their fans, right? But they were great clubs when I was growing up. You know, I watched Nottingham Forest win the European Cup and all the rest of it. So, you know, you see it now that they can't get a look in, you know, and it's all about money, trying to keep everybody going. So for me, it's taken the soul out of football, all these super rich people coming in, and it's just the way it's going. You just can't get away from it. It's the future of football until the bubble bursts. You know, once that bubble bursts, we'll see where we end up.
Exactly, Lee. I totally agree with you. I mean, football is heading down that way. It's a business now, isn't it? That's all it is now in football. And as you said there, mate, as you said, you wouldn't care who's in charge, if they can bring us big trophies. Exactly as me, mate. Seriously, I mean, and I keep reminding some of the fans, because some Spurs fans say, I don't want no oil rich people. I said, what, do you want to go for another 20 years of this? Having no trophies, we don't know where we're going. I mean, I'll rather have someone come in now and literally, if we have to buy, as what they call it, just buying trophies, I don't care. Because that's lifting a Premier League before I pop it. You know what I mean? That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want to see us big trophies. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And Coy says here, leaving ENIC to stay, allowed the protest. We're not saying, Lee's not saying that he's against the protest and things like that. He's just literally saying that protests, yes, go ahead. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. He said, just go and have your word. And Lee's not said nothing about the protest or nothing like that, guys. Or he's not saying he wants ENIC and Levy to stay in and things like that. Do you know what I mean? So, guys, just respect what Lee's is his opinion. Coy's says, what you're talking about, we need a great stadium. Yes, of course we need a great stadium.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, I don't care. I didn't care about the stadium. I cared about the football. I love the new stadium. It's very nice. It's very plush. My seat is nice and comfortable and all the rest of it. But I'd be quite happy sat in a tiny little seat and all the rest of it. Personally, I'd much prefer to stand, right? So if you take all that away from it, you know, people don't go, oh, yeah, what a great club this is. We've got a lovely stadium. You know, our training facilities are second to none. Oh, fantastic. How many trophies you won? 0. Oh, well done. You know, nice. You know, the players are having a nice lunch. You know, they're getting nice free dinners cooked by Michelin star chefs. Great. I'm glad they're enjoying that. But I want to see them win. I want to see them win. And I don't care where I have to go to see them win. but of course we needed a stadium. I see that, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, as a fan, that wasn't the most important thing to me. And if you ask a lot of old school Tottenham fans, they'll all say to you, I prefer the old stadium. It had atmosphere. The fans were close. We all, you could do whatever. Now, if you went to the Wembley times when we was in Wembley, that is a soulless bowl. It was dross watching the football there. There was no atmosphere. You couldn't get anything going. It was awful. And that's what new stadiums bring. And this one is a fantastic one because they've put an awful lot of thought into it. But it's still difficult when you haven't got the, people that were together before together again. We're all trying to get back where we were and all the rest of it. I've moved. I had a seat in the north stand. So when I go back, I've changed to the south stand because that's where I wanted to go, but I couldn't get there before. So now I've got a ticket in the south stand. So everyone's kind of trying to get back with their mates and the people that they used to go with and stuff like that. And hopefully that will improve things there. But new stadiums is new stadiums. Of course we need it. Yeah, and of course we do.
Absolutely. That's the question, Lee. I said I've been outside of the new stadium. I haven't been in it yet. It's absolutely fantastic. It's an upgrade to what we had there. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. It's fantastic for the area as well. But Lee, just tell us more. You've been there. What's the atmosphere like, Lee? Obviously, it's not going to be the same as the White Lane, because that was rocking. That place was a rock. We've built that nice south stand, that nice wall. Is it about time now, as you said there, it's about time to have the proper fans in that, especially in that stand there. Have the proper fans. You want to get the crowd, get the players going with the singing and things like that. Like I call them the ultras, Lee. You know what I mean, you've got to get the ultras in there. You've got to get the people who's going to want passion, going to want singing and all that. Just look at Dortmund and they're in Yellow Wall. That is rocking. That's the sort of thing they've spent all this money on this stadium, and especially on this nice stand they got there. We should be utilising it and to make it a fortress when teams come here. And is that something that they need to look into, Lee? Making especially that stand. That stand's got to be a fortress.
Yeah, I get. Listen, it's a fantastic stadium. It's one of the best I've ever been in. It is. They've delivered, and they've really thought about it. They have really thought about it, and that's why I say, when you look at the owners in terms of investment and stuff, it's second to none. Absolutely. In terms of atmosphere, you need to be playing a Man United, a Liverpool, an Arsenal, a West Ham. Those kind of clubs. They're the kind of clubs that you need in there to really get the home fans going. There's some great. I'll tell you, it was really good. Wolverhampton Wanderers. Their fans are fantastic. They really, really are up for atmosphere. I was really impressed with them. But it is difficult, and as I said, I think a lot of it is due to the fact that when we first went in there, no one knew who was going to be where and how you were going to get, into the ground and all the rest of it. So the first year was always going to be difficult in terms of sorting out people getting to know each other. I mean, I sit on my own. Right, so I've got a guy to the right of me who I didn't know, a couple of young lads who sitting to the left of me who I didn't know. But over the course of time, you get to know each other. So the atmosphere was a little bit ropey from time to time. I think they missed a trick in terms of safe standing. I know it's a big issue, and I know we are putting effort into that. But I do think that would improve the the atmosphere a lot, and trying to get people where with other people, because we did it in phases when you bought your ticket. So a lot of the guys that I go with were in different phases for me, and by the time it got to me, I couldn't get to where they were. So we kind of spread out all over the place, and that's a bit of a problem. I think I don't know how they do it, but it certainly needs sort of zoning. So maybe you would say the south stand is going to be a standing stand at some point. So there's no point, someone who doesn't want to stand buying a season ticket in there, because there are people complaining about people standing up in front of them. Well, you're in the section that is supposed to be where the atmosphere is, and you just want to sit there with your bit of pizza or whatever, which is your right. That's your right. If you want to go and watch and sit with a bit of pizza, that's absolutely fine. But they should have sectioned the stadium out in a way that allowed for everybody's different things and said, this is the bit where we're going to expect the atmosphere to come from. So therefore, don't buy a season ticket here if you're going to be concerned about people standing in front of you, or you're going to be concerned about people singing or jumping about or whatever, because that's what happens. Football's passionate,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
And the other thing I think they miss as well is around flags. I know, because I've got a flag that I take to games and everything. There's nowhere to hang them because it's all advertising everywhere. As soon as you put your flag over somewhere, they take it down. I've had mine confiscated off me before because it was hanging over something that's written all the way around the ground. It's written all the way around the ground, but my 6-foot flag is blocking 6 foot of that advertising, so I've got to take it down.
That is stupid.
You know, and I think it's little things like that that make it a little bit more difficult, you know, in terms of creating that atmosphere. But I do think it will get better as time goes on. I'm hoping so anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nice one, Lee. Nice for covering that. Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, someone who's been in there. And Coys says, great content, keep it up. I like that you never flip flop. Nah, I actually never do. But thanks for your comment, mate. Michael says, having a big stadium is all good, but surely if you invest in such a beautiful stadium, surely you've got to invest a lot of money on the great manager and decent players to win the trophy to put in your big squad. I've been saying this for a long time, Michael. Yusuf, hello, mate. How's it going, pal? Yusuf, nice hair, Lee. You likes your hair, Lee.
Thank you. I need a haircut. I desperately need an haircut. So
didn't hear of you before. Sorry. So new guest, indeed. Nice one, Yusuf. Sorry, mate. I got so many to get through, really. Sorry, mate. Could says, Joe Lewis, mate. Yes. Joe Lewis is the issue. He owns 80%. Levy only owns family share of 20. I think he owns 30% though. Daniel Levy. I'm not too sure. George says, sorry, I'm late. Not a problem, George. Jake, congrats on the 500 subs. Thank you very much. Real Madrid started all in the big money players in the 90s. They would pay millions. They in their squad. That's why they won so many European trophies. Evans, I'm annoyed. No views on my channel. Get over to Evans Football Talk, guys. Cenk says, big up you two tonight. Up the Spurs. Yes, Cenk. Thanks for coming in, pal. Yusuf, congrats on the 500 subs. Thank you. Cenk says, Lee, they need to allow season tickets to move closer to friends and family, and also allow those who want to stand to go Park Lane, so they are with the people with the same mentality. Do you quickly agree with that? What Cenk's saying there, Lee?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's absolutely what I'm saying. I think what they need to be saying is, you know, these are the sections. Let's section it out. This is going to be a family area. You know, this is going to be an area for people that predominantly want to sit and all the rest of it. You know, and give, you know, and an area for youngsters, because that's one of the other things I think is missing, is you know, youngsters going to football. Because I mean, when I started going, believe it or not, a schoolboy could go in for £1. Right, well, £1. But now a lot of people that go that own season tickets are old sods like me, right, and people older than me, you know. So I can only jump about for about 5 minutes, and then I'm out of breath, and I need to sit down, you know. I mean, you know, but you need somewhere to bring the youngsters through, because you need your next generation of Tottenham fans to come through. You know, it wasn't as simple as before, where everyone lived locally. Most Tottenham fans, I'm not saying most, a lot of Tottenham fans now come from all over Hertfordshire, you know, Middlesex, Essex, Sussex. You know, they come from Dorset. I mean, we've got a massive following in Dorset for Spurs. You know, all over the country, and obviously all around the world. So they're not all just local lads now. They're all just going to come to the club. You know, so you've got to try to generate that supporter for the future, you know. So for me, a little bit of zoning around the stadium would be really useful for the fans, so they know what to expect in the areas that they're in. And for me, safe standing is a must. You know, I you know, the reasons why we don't have safe standing is to do with crushing. It's nothing to do with people standing. It's to do with crushing. But if you take away the crushing and you make it safe, hence the safe standing, I don't see an issue, and I think that that's one of the things we should be pushing for.
Absolutely. I would love to see that safe standing. I think ain't Celtic Celtic part of I think Celtic some of their stands are safe standing. Lee. I'm not too sure. I
I think
think I've
so. I
seen
think they have, and I know in Germany they have. That's why Dortmund that they can't do it in the Champions League, but in their domestic league they've got safe standing and stuff.
Yeah.
And it does adds to the atmosphere. You know, I mean, let's face it. You watch football on the telly when the fans are in there. If you go around, the cameras go around and go, all the fans are standing. They're all standing where their seat should be, right? So why don't they just let them stand safely? Put the railings in, let them stand safely, and be done with it. You can still get the same amount of people. In fact, you probably get more people in, even with safe standing, than with the seats. So why just get on with it?
Why's leave late for that? Get some more people annoyed. Nice one, Jake, for that comment, mate. Absolutely fantastic. Corey says, I just think we need to be careful with the next appointment of manager. Who do you think we should appoint? That's the next question I'm going to hit Lee with and to the panel. Absolutely. Michael says, that's why I love Chelsea Stadium. We allow to hang flags. They are kept there forever. So it was the same at the old White Lane, but it's just this new stadium. I can see where Lee's coming from. I can see there's nowhere to put. Yeah, I've seen it on TV loads of times, and as you said, there's nowhere to put them, is there? I mean, and
no,
absolutely, mate. Sorry, pal. Evan says, "Scratch on the 500 sub. You deserve it, mate. Very underrated. Thank you very much. Arsenal for life. Scratch on the 500. Thank you very much. This guy's called Lee. It's Arsenal fan here. I think he's a Tottenham fan as well. At Chelsea, we have stands for what you want catered for. Hardcore fans behind both goals, and it's quoted on our website when you buy the ticket. Has been like this for years. Arsenal say may your channel keep growing. Thank you very much. Evan says your channel that good. You've got City, Chelsea, and Arsenal fans. Yeah, they love it. All these Chelsea and Arsenal fans, City fans coming all the time. Our Matthew Harden stand is safe standing. I want Klingsman and Paul Reed. Thanks for coming in as well, mate. And congrats on the 500 subs. Facts and stats. Thanks for coming in as well, mate. So yes, Paul. Just quickly, I just want to quickly, Lee. Just want to get your on this one here, mate. Just quickly on Jose Mourinho. Was he sacked too early? That's one of the questions I want to ask you. Was he sacked too early before that final? Was he treated unfairly? Was he? And the other question is, was he backed properly? People say he had 7 players in the summer. Me personally, maybe 2 players out of that 7 has probably worked. So, what's your thoughts on Jose Mourinho since his time is here? And was he sacked too early, mate?
I guess the question for me would be: was he sacked? Was he sacked too late rather than too early?
Right.
That would be the other way of putting it. So, in answer to the question, he shouldn't have been sacked. For me, he shouldn't have been sacked 6 days before a final. I think that's a really strange decision, because if anyone was going to have an opportunity against Guardiola and knows how to win a final, then arguably it would have been Jose Mourinho, right? Should he have been there? Leading up to that final? Probably not. He should have gone probably when we went out of the Europa, because that was a dismal situation, and that would have given us some time to get somebody in who would be able to see us through a final. So it's a double-edged sword, really. I'm not saying that Jose would have won the final. Potentially not, because City were really good, as we know they can be. So for me, I wouldn't have sacked him just before a final. I think that's a very strange decision. And it does make me wonder, and this is just me sort of thinking about it, whether there was something going on with regards to this Roma appointment earlier on, whereby they knew this was going to come, and to save themselves a lot of money in compensation, he was always going to go to Roma, and that's where they come in. And he probably didn't want to blot his copybook by losing a final, so he can say, "Well, I left there without winning the trophy because they got rid of me before I had the opportunity to win a trophy." So his CV stays safe. they get the reduced compensation. Roma get their manager. But listen, this is just me making. I could write books, couldn't I? I get out there writing conspiracy theories. but you know what I mean. It wouldn't surprise me if he didn't go to him and say, "Look, Jose, it's not working. We're probably going to let you go at the end of the season." And he's gone, "Well, that's all right. Roma are interested. If you get rid of me before the final, then I'll go to Roma and you can get a reduced compensation." And they're probably all shook on it and said, "Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. We ain't going to win the final anyway because Man City are too good for us." You know what I mean? So, but that's just me making up a conspiracy.
So when Jose went, Lee, as you said there, was it a fact too late, and then too early? So Jose's gone. Ryan Mason's coming. What do you expect in a full-time appointment straight away, like when Pochettino got sacked and when Jose come in, or did you expect someone like for Rafa Benitez or Harry Redknapp, just to see us through to the end of the season, just a short-term contract to the end of the season, then we'll look for someone full-time, taking the club forward from the summer. Would you expecting someone a bit more? Would you be happy with that? Someone a bit more experienced, or was you happy with Ryan Mason just taking it to the end of the season?
To be honest, I think it was probably there's not enough time left to bring anybody in on a short term. So if you'd have said to Harry Redknapp, "Can you come and look after things for, 5 games or whatever it is?" He ends up looking after the. What's he going to do in 5 games, right? He's on a hide into nothing. So I couldn't see Rafa Benitez or someone like that come in just to look after the club for because he would see himself as a full-time appointment. To be fair. So I didn't. When Jose went, I didn't expect us to put in an interim. I thought that Daniel Levy would have already had this sussed and sorted, ready, like he did with Pochettino. The only thing that I can kind of make sense of it is maybe the person that they're getting is already with another club or another country, and maybe they need to see something through before they can be named, because obviously you don't want to say for instance it was Gareth Southgate, and I'm not saying I want Gareth Southgate, but say it was Gareth Southgate, you don't want Gareth Southgate saying before the Euros, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm just going to do this and I'm going to Spurs," because that ain't going to instill any kind of support from the players or from the fans even. So that could be a reason why they haven't announced anything. Because they've already got something in mind. I don't know. So it's a difficult one. Only Daniel Levy really knows, and Steve Hitchin, they're the only ones who really know what's going on, aren't they? They're not going to tell us.
Lee, this just sums up what an absolute mess this club's in at the minute, which they didn't have no one lined up. I mean, they didn't have no one. They didn't have a clue, did they? I think they just sacked Jose. And you know what? I think they thought they would get Nagelsmann. I think that blew up in their faces when he went to Bayern. So after that, looks like Brendan Rodgers sounds like he wanted to stay at Leicester. Then they're just picking up straws then with Graham Potters and Scott Potter, all these names coming out. So we'll go on to it. Who do you want as your next manager, or who do you think Daniel Levy's got up his sleeve? Do you think someone like Brendan Rodgers could take this job still? Do you reckon it could be like, or could a Pochettino come back to the club? Would you welcome Pochettino back to this club, or have you got someone else in mind, Lee?
I've been asked this question a few times by people, and I'll be honest with you. For me, I think a lot depends on the direction the club is going to take next and what their plan is. If they're going for a project, or are they going for a superstar manager? Are they going to invest? So I think that's what's going to dictate one way or the other which way they're going to go, right? In terms of Brendan Rodgers, I don't think Brendan Rodgers would want to come to Tottenham. At the end of the day, he's in a decent position to get Champions League football. He's probably comfortable with what he's got. He knows his squad, and let's be honest, if you're a manager out there and you're looking around at the best people in the world, the best managers in the world, right? You're going to say, whether we like it or not, Jose Mourinho is one of the best managers in the world because of everything he's on his CV, right? So if he can't get the best out of this squad, what chance has anybody else got? Right. And we can all say, oh, it was his poor man management or this or that or rest of it. But let's be honest with you. Let's be honest. If you look at the attitude of some of the players over the last few games, it's been appalling. Right. So you can't just say it was all down to Mourinho. And I'm not a Mourinho apologist because I didn't like his brand of football anyway. And I didn't want him as the manager in the first place. But I'll always support the manager whilst they're the manager. But for me, there's bigger problems in the squad. And if you're a manager and you're in a job and you're doing well, why would you want to come to somewhere that you've really got to work at? You've got to have for me, you've got to have a total rebuild of that squad. There's a lot of players in there. You've got to move on for one reason or other, whether it's because they're stale, whether it's because they're just not good enough. There's a lot that needs to be done with that squad, in my humble opinion. Right. So, if you're a world-class manager out there, you're looking at it, you're going to want to know, well, how much money am I going to have? Am I going to be able to attract the right players? What competition am I going to be in? So there's a lot of questions there. Are you in the Europa League? Are you in no European spots? Are you in the Champions League? Where are you going? How much money are you going to give me? What players can I buy? What players do I need to move on? So it's a really, really difficult one in terms of managerial appointments. In terms of Pochettino, just to cover that off, I personally, and this is just me personally, I never like to go back. I never like to go backwards. So once a player's been in, once they've gone, I don't ever think they really come back as the player they was, right? And that's one of the reasons why you got rid of them in the first place. It works occasionally, but not the majority. In terms of manager, let's face it, Pochettino has gone to PSG with the star players they've got there, right? And they're now not in the Champions League final, right? So do we want to bring back a guy who couldn't get into the Champions League final with the players that they've got at PSG to give him the job to try and get us into the Champions League at Tottenham with the players we've got, right? So for me, and there's still talk about him not even winning the league in France, and there's not that many clubs that do win it over there. So that's not helping him either. So for me, I'm like, good luck to him. He'll always have a special place in my Tottenham heart. But for me, I don't think we should go backwards. I think we need to move forwards and look for something else. People talk about Graham Potter and Scott Parker and all these guys all battling relegation.
Exactly.
Could they bring something better to it? I don't know. They're unproven, so it's really difficult to say. You could be lucky and unearth another Pochettino who's able to take these players places where we never expected them to go. But that's a big risk. That's a big risk. I mean, if you look at Chelsea with Lampard, all the money that they gave him, he spent absolute fortunes and couldn't deliver. You're bringing this other guy from PSG, right, who's turned them around, turned them into, and they are playing good football, winning lots and lots of matches. They're all together and all the rest of it. He's done magic there. So, you just don't know. So I'm absolutely at a loss of who to bring in as a manager. And the last time I was asked this question, I said, let's bring back Keith Birkinshaw. He's still about. He enjoys his golf, but he's still about. He could probably do as well. At least he'd be able to tell them about winning things with Tottenham, couldn't he? So, let's have the general back.
Absolutely. So we can't squeeze one name apart from Keith. Can't squeeze one name. Who you think? Who you like? Who's there? Someone out there like? There must be someone like you say. Do you know what? I wouldn't mind him.
Guardiola. I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't mind him as a manager.
Oh, lovely, mate.
Someone like that. I wouldn't mind him. I'm sure he could do a good job at Tottenham. I mean, listen, whoever they bring in, I'm going to support them, right? I'll criticise them when they make stupid substitutions or they pick crap teams or they don't buy the right player. Of course, we're going to criticise, but I'll always support them. I'll always want them to do well. I wanted Jose to do well. I wanted him to be a success and prove me wrong, And when it started off, you thought, well, maybe, he's trying to sort the defence out. You've got to build and da-da-da. But, he was always going to be divisive, always. And when you've got a lot of prima donnas and players that spit their dummy out, that's always a risk. So I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. I'd take anyone at the moment just to see. I don't know enough about other teams' managers to be able to put me thumb on it and go, that's the guy we should get. Because if I knew that, then I'd be in a better job than the job that I'm in. And I love my job, by the way, just in case anyone from my company's watching. I love my job.
Oh, dear, brilliantly. But do you know what makes me laugh though? When they said about Harry Potter's, I call him Harry Potter's and the Scott Parker's. These guys are just fighting relegation. Scott Parker's got relegated for them.
Yeah.
These guys won't do it. Just we don't need these kind of. These may be future, Lee. These may be good down the line. We need someone. Do you know who I'm looking at, Lee? And I think he'll do a fantastic. He's Conte. I think he'll do a fantastic job here. But as you said, Lee, he's going to come in, and it's a massive rebuild. And as you said, it needs not just one or two players. It needs a lot of players shifting out this club, and a lot of players coming in, mate. And would that be something that Conte would want to do? Maybe not. I mean, but someone like Conte, I think would be great for me personally. But I don't want any Parker or his Potters and.
I just think with Conte, as I recall, and I might be wrong because my memory ain't what it was, but didn't he place although he won the league with Chelsea, but didn't he place a real dross, and that's why he got the sack because the football wasn't exciting enough. I think that was the issue for old Roman. So do I still want to watch dross? I suppose if we're going to win the league, then yeah, I'd put up with it just to win the league. But
I said that on the Jose league. I said I'd rather if he can win this league, I'll watch Dross all season. I don't care. We win that league. I don't care how we win it. You know what I mean? But it did get sour. It did get sour at the end there, mate. There's a couple of questions, Lee, before we head out. If that's cool with you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Jake says United being idiots playing a bunch of reserves finished Liverpool's hopes of a top four, and it's annoying. Imagine if Spurs gave the title to Chelsea by losing someone to so Arsenal don't get top four. I think it's our greats there, lad. Michael says, Gus Hiddink was appointed our manager, 5 games left, and FA Cup final, so you can appoint a decent manager with a short contract. That's back then, though, Michael. That's back then when there was some really good interim managers back then. I don't think there's few and far between who can actually come and do it at the minute. And that's what Lee said. It's 5 games remaining. So who's coming for 5 games? Man United should be fined for fielding 9 non-first team teamers tonight versus Leicester. It's the Europa Cup, so important for them to win. To not even give their fierce rivals the challenge till the end. I think what's actually wrong with it, mate. I don't. Sorry about this, pal. There's lots of questions here. Michael says, thanks for that, pal. Conte, yes. Dara says, big up, Simon. Thank you very much, Dara, for coming in. I do not want Scott Parker or Potter. Not good enough. Aurier, Sanchez, Winks, Sissoko, Lamela all need to be sold because they are awful, and Davis as well. According to the Football Insider, Spurs have made contact with the current no, I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't know about you, Lee. Roberto Martinez.
No, not for me. He was poor. He was poor at Swansea and all that. Everton, it just not really.
Facts and stats say, get the German brain of Klinsmann into our club. He knows the club, our style of football. He can speak different languages. He knows the Prem and the fans, has experience. World Cup, the list goes on. The Yid says Levy is looking for another Pochettino. I'll watch paint dry if it meant we won the league. Exactly. It's going to be someone who in the media has not mentioned unexpected. I think will be Ten Hag or Redknapp. About Redknapp as full time. Conte wins trophies, but so did Jose, and that didn't end well. The Sussex Hotspur, Matt, thanks for joining in, pal. I'm free, mate, if you want me to join for a bit. Call Matt. I'll send you the link quickly. This is the next question, Lee. Do you agree with the protest, and will you be going? And that's all I want to know. Will you be attending these protests, and do you actually agree with it?
So I do agree with it. I think it's right. I think it's right for the fans to have their say, and go and do what they want to do. And but as I said, I'm not sure that the difference it's going to make in terms of changing Enoch or Levy's opinion. But I do agree with it. I do think the fans need to voice their opinion. Absolutely. I won't be going Saturday. I and this is just for personal reasons. I had COVID not so long ago, and I was really ill with it. I ended up with pneumonia, and and it was a really bad time. And we're not really out of this yet, in my opinion. And I'm a little bit concerned about getting too close to too many people in one go. And I know I can be safe and all the rest of it, but I just, from a personal point of view, I've still got my mum who I have to think about and stuff like that. So until I've had my second jab and everyone says it's all right, then I'll be being extra careful. So, and plus I work at a company that's really into it, trying to keep people safe, and I want to send the wrong message to the people that I work with.
Matt?
Hello, mate. You right? Sorry, yeah.
Have you got?
Hello, Lee, mate. You right? Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Matt, have you got something going in that kitchen? Some tumble dryer wash machine.
Yeah, making a cup of tea, mate. Sorry.
All right, cool. That's fine. That's fine.
Because
yeah, nice one, Matt. Absolutely. So Lee, this is my co-host, Matt, mate. We just popped in quickly to say hello to you. So Lee, just continue what you're saying there, mate, about this protest. Do you think? Do you think it'll get to these sort of protests? Do you reckon the word will get out to Levy? Obviously, Levy obviously will know about this. He'll actually be watching this going on. Would this change his mind, mate, or would he just be sitting there saying, "What a waste of time"?
I don't think so. I don't think it'll change his mind. I think it might shape some of his views, some of his opinions. It'll be interesting to see how many people actually do turn up and the strength of feeling. I hope that people behave themselves, and I hope that they don't get themselves in trouble and give the media what they want, which will be, bad messages and stuff. You don't want to see your Tottenham fans being made to look bad, So I hope they do behave themselves and do a proper decent job of it. I don't think it'll change Levy's opinion, because the guy is really single-minded. He knows what he wants and he knows what he wants to do. So I think he'll just do what he wants to do regardless. But I think he'll definitely be watching. He'll definitely be looking to see what's coming from it. He'll have his spies out there, no doubt at all. He'll be looking out of the window, won't he? He'll be looking out of that window with his telescope, having a look at
it. Matt, thanks for coming in, pal. Do you agree with what Lee was saying there about the protest? That it's all good to have the fans have the voice and to try to get their message across of what's going on at the minute. But Lee reckons they're not going nowhere just yet. Do you think things like this is going to rattle Levy and Joe Lewis to sell?
I don't think they will. I mean, it might make them wake up a bit and realise that, if things don't improve, things could get worse, especially when we're back in the stadium. There could be a lot of boos. There could be, I don't want there to be riots or anything like that. I don't condone any violence, but if he doesn't sort it out, it could get really ugly. I've never seen the fan base as sort of mixed as it is now. Everyone's down, everyone's angry, everyone, wants the, football season to end and just get to the summer. But yeah, no, I hope, obviously, like Lee says, everyone behaves themselves on Saturday, and yeah, just hope for a good protest, but don't make the news for bad publicity like what Man United fans did, at Old Trafford. But yeah, I mean, I think Spurs fans have sat back far too long under this board, and I think maybe now, them coming out, us coming out, they'll take action. Obviously, we heard from the club today with a pretty pathetic apology in my eyes, but maybe he is quivering a little bit. Maybe he thinks he's trying to stop as many come to the protest. But yeah, hopefully people obviously kind of view it like I do and go down there in force on Saturday and show them we're not fans to be messed with. But yeah, that's my view on it. But whether it will change, whether it will get rid of them, no. But maybe a change of strategy and and things like that. And headlines we're hearing today, the club's obviously looking at centre backs already. So, there's business to be done, and I think get it done early.
Absolutely, Matt. Nice one for having you on say there, mate. Lee, before I ask you the last question, mate, before we wrap up, what Matt just said there about Manchester United, how they got into their stadium, things like that, it made me laugh, mate. It made me chuckle. Obviously, I don't accept with the violence what happened to the steward and the camera equipment, things that's having damage and things like that. But do you think these United fans thinking, do you know what? Nothing's happening outside. We can stand there all day. These guys aren't listening. Do you think they had enough and they just said, listen, we've got to get inside that stadium to go that one step further, trying to get our voice across to them? Did you agree what they did? Do you agree on some sense what they did get into the stadium? On obviously not the violent side. Is that the right way going forward?
I totally understand it. I totally understand why that they did what they did. And I think if you've got the opportunity and the opportunity presents itself, a lot of these people probably didn't plan to do what they did. But when the opportunity presents itself, then something like that will happen. I mean, we saw it with the West Ham fans when, they all charged against their owner when he was sat in the stands. I mean, that was, the guy's an old man sat in that chair. He was probably a little bit perturbed at what could happen there. So, but it's a passion. The trouble is, football's so passionate. It's one of those things. There's no other sport like it, in my opinion. There's great sports out there, but football is the one sport that will make grown men do things that they would never consider doing in the cold light of day, right? So you're always asking for trouble when you get large crowds of people together and you present, they get antagonized and all the rest of it, and passion rises. The next thing you've got problems. So I totally understand it. I totally understand why they did it. And if I'd have been there, I'd have probably done the same. I'd have probably got into the stadium myself. You know what I mean? Because you get swept along with it, and you think about it after the event, don't you? Yeah. So yeah, I totally get it. I'm getting attacked by a cat. Get out of it. I totally get it and understand why they did it, but it's probably not the smartest of moves because these days everything's on the media. They can end up losing their jobs, their family. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. It's not worth getting antagonised like that.
Absolutely. It made me giggle. I saw the videos after when they're smashing through the door. But and apparently there was Liverpool fans there. I don't know how true that was. Some were Liverpool fans. I can't see. I don't know how true that was, but that's what I've been told there. So this one to end it, Lee. This question here: what needs to happen at this club, mate, to move forward for next season? It's all easy and said, mate, about let's get these owners out, let's get Enoch out, let's get Daniel Levy gone, let's get someone else in, let's get this release player, get released. What do you think the plan now going forward? What do we need to do, mate, to get this right for next season? Because we have to get this right. Do we start with the manager, or do we start as what me and Matt always talk about? It's the recruitment. The recruitment's not great at Tottenham since Mitchell's left. We believe Hitchen, he's the man who's got to go first. Along with like Daniel, we'd like to see Daniel Levy step down and things like that. But the recruitment side, would you be happy to see Steve Hitchen literally gone out this board and someone else come in as a footballer man who knows what they're doing? And as I said, Daniel Levy to step aside and let football people go in there. So what do you think going forward needs to happen, mate, to his football club to be successful next season?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think there is lots to be done. I think Daniel Levy either needs to go, or he needs to step aside, or get someone who's a real face of football that can advise him properly on what he needs to do. So he needs to take a bit of a back step and get somebody else out there fronting it, someone who's respected in the football world, who can really, get people on his side. From that perspective, I think we need a new face to front the club up. Recruitment, we need to get hold of someone who's really going to get some proper talent out there, because the talent we're getting, I don't believe that a player becomes bad overnight. I think there's something else going on for that to have happened. So if you look at someone like Sergio Reguilon, when he came in, we was all over the moon, and he was playing really well, and he's not gone too good recently. So something's going on, and it could be the training regime or whatever. Then I think we need a new manager, obviously, and we need to get that right. And we need to decide where we're going. As I've said already, are we going a project route? Are we going all out? What are we doing? And I think that's the key to that, so that we will know where we're going. You know, are we going for someone new and young who's going to turn it on and build from within, or are we going for someone proven? And then the final thing for me that needs to happen is our recruitment. We need to stop sending me emails about getting a new bed and start finding out about the players that are out there that are available, that want to come to Tottenham, that are good enough to play for Tottenham, that are going to be world class. I mean, we've got. Why would you, if you're Harry Kane, when you're looking around and at the players that you're bringing in, you want players as good, if not better than you, by your side. That's what you want to be looking at. You want to send out a real statement, and I think that, for me, is what I'm looking for. Get rid of Daniel Levy from the front of football. Get a director of football in, or someone who knows about football to do some proper analysis and give him some proper ideas. Recruitment needs to be sorted out. Let's get the right players in that have the right attitude, because a lot of it's about attitude as well as their ability, which we saw when you look at Leeds. And lots of Leeds fans have been telling me on my YouTube channel, you know, we smashed you because we've got a better team, but we've got a better attitude and we've got a better work ethic. So you know, and they're right in what they're saying. And then let's get the right players in and a right manager who's going to take us forward. Really easy to say, isn't it? You know, really easy to say. It's not as easy to do. I don't envy Daniel Levy being in that position, to be fair, to make those kind of decisions. But he needs to make some decisions for the benefit of the club and for the fans going forward, rather than just what's good for the business model.
Do you, Lee, before I let Matt have the last say on this, before we head out, do you believe we got to get Daniel Levy, not Daniel Levy, Harry Kane involved in this next manager? Do we need to get him involved and say, listen, just listen to what Harry Kane wants at his football club? Obviously, he wants ambition, he wants to win trophies. Is it important to keep Kane in the loop about this next manager? Because I totally believe that he won't stay for the likes of Potters and the Parkers. That's just my opinion. I'm not disrespecting these managers. I just don't think they're the big name what like Harry will like to have in at the club. So do you think that's quite a good idea to keep Harry Kane in the loop, or do you reckon no, we can't just single one player out, single the rest out? So what's your feeling on that?
It's an interesting question, really. So I'm a manager, right? In my employment, I'm a manager. So I think about things from a managerial point of view. And I've always thought that a team should always respect their manager, right? They should always respect their manager and be able to work for them because they want to work for them. But I don't think they should always get the choice of who that's going to be. So I think for Harry Kane to be in a position where he gets to say, yeah, I'm happy to stay because of this manager or that manager, I think that sets a dangerous precedent, maybe. But I think, obviously, he needs to understand the direction they're taking. So in terms of talks about, look, this is who we're thinking about and this is where we think we're going to go and this is what the plan is, we're going to invest in this, that and the other, to keep him motivated to want to be at Tottenham, I think is a good idea. But in terms of making a decision about whether this is or isn't the right manager, I think that's a difficult one. I think that probably sets a bit of a difficult, the wrong precedent. So I don't know.
All right, nice one, Lee. Thank you very much for that. So Matt, you can have the final say on this, mate. What needs to happen, mate, for us to move forward next season?
You know, they need to have I'm sure they're having loads of meetings. They need to have a long, hard think about it. I quite like it that they're not rushing it too much. You know, I suppose they're going to wait till maybe at end of the season or towards, you know, maybe the end of the Euros or in the middle. I think we need to get it done, the manager-wise, pretty quickly after the season's done, just so he can start planning with the board, you know, with his coaches, whoever he wants to bring in. I think Daniel Levy needs to take a step back. I think we need to bring in a sporting director. Luis Campos is available. if you've got any ambition and maybe you want to try and win the, fans back on side, his track record is very, very good. You look what he's obviously done at Lille. They've pretty much won the title now, haven't they? So
one game.
yeah, his track record's very good. I think he's available. I think if you sell it to him right, I think he'd come. I think Steve Hitchin needs to go. I don't like his recruitment. If we look at the last few transfer windows, it's been pretty poor. And Dombele, I'm not really. I've had debates about him. I'm thinking, is he actually worth the 65 million? I haven't seen much, to be honest. A few glimmers, a few glimpses. Lo Celso, 45 million, more wasted money, almost like another Lamella, always injured. Region, I think he is a good player. But the new manager that comes in, I think he can't be a yes man. He's got to be quite ruthless. This team needs breaking up massively, or it needs some stern words done to it. I think we need to bring a few youngsters through. I think we've got Skip coming back next year, Sessegnon. That will breathe a bit of new life into the squad. It'd be interesting to see if Foyth comes back. I think he's had quite a good season at Villarreal. I like Lee. I'm not sure if I feel sorry for Daniel Levy because he's kind of put himself in this position. He didn't back his man that he had under Pochettino. We were so close to breaking through that glass ceiling. All it took was a bit more investment, a better strategy, and actually take a gamble, which we didn't do. So in that sense, I don't feel sorry for him. I feel like he's had this coming. The way he treats certain managers, in terms of what he did to Harry Redknapp, what he's done to a lot of these up and coming managers. It's not good. I think the next guy's got to be. It's got to be a long-term plan. We can't just keep going back and forward sacking managers because Chelsea do it because they can spend unlimited money and they throw money at whoever manager they want with transfers. The problem with Tottenham is we can't do that. We don't have the money clearly because we're paying the stadium off, but also they don't want to spend the money. I don't think willingly. I think that is my sort of views on it. I'm just glad it's a right headache. Even me thinking about it. So I don't know what they're thinking, but yeah, I really don't know what kind of manager I want. I like Potter. I think he'd be good. Whether he'd be good enough for Tottenham, I don't know. And whether he'd leave Brighton, I don't know, because I think there's quite a good project going on there. If you see the way they're kind of growing and, the way they play football and the youngsters he's brought through, I mean, yeah, he's going to be putting his reputation on the line and maybe coming to a poison chalice of a club at the moment. So I think it's going to be really interesting, to see who we get. But I really don't want Roberto Martinez. I don't think he's anywhere near good enough.
No, absolutely. Me and Lee said no to that as well.
Yeah.
Nice one for that, Matt. With Lee's comment there, we have to shop in Marks and Spencer's, not Aldi. Absolutely, spot on. That really is spot on. So yes, guys. So Lee. Thanks for coming in, mate. Absolutely appreciate it. I just want to get this over, guys, one more time. Spurs fans need you Saturday, the 15th of May, guys, 12:30, 12 p.m, guys, outside the club shop. Don't suffer in silence, guys. Go and support the change. Enoch and Levy out, guys. And sold us soul you didn't own. And I'll leave you this one because I love this photo here. Absolute two clowns. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So Lee, absolutely a pleasure for coming in, mate. Absolutely. Just one question, guys. He's been on at me. My cousin's been on at me. He wants to know quickly, you and Matt and Lee, Carlo Ancelotti. He wants to know, would you take him at Tottenham?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Matt,
He's got a decent CV, hasn't he? So
I would take him, but it's not going to happen. He's actually got a project. He's got a project at Everton that I think that they're having an up and down season, but I think there's a project there, and they're going to spend the money. They're already looking at Coutinho and players like that. So there's a plan there at Everton, and I think he'll do quite well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, agree.
Absolutely. So very, very much for coming in, giving up your time, mate.
problem.
Absolutely appreciate it, mate. I hope you enjoyed it coming on.
Yeah, it's good. Good fun.
Absolutely.
I hope you don't get too much stick about some of the things I've said now. I hope your subs don't go down. It's like they go up. Give these guys a subscribe, guys. Come on, get them up there.
Yeah. Seriously, Lee. I always say, everyone comes on, mate. Just say what you got to say. Seriously, don't hide back to these in the comments, mate. Seriously, just get it off your chest. Say how you want to say, mate. Just be real. I mean, just don't worry about these guys in the chat. If they want to go off and don't want to follow us anymore, it's down to them, guys. So Lee, tell everyone where they can follow you, mate.
Well, I do have a YouTube channel. It's just Lee Dorset Spur. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on everything. So if you want to follow me. Generally, I'm just an old guy moaning in his car about Spurs, but you could always, you don't have to agree with me.
But, they're great videos. I love them in the car. Mate, they're brilliant. Yeah. No, I love
it's the only place I could get any peace. It's the only place I could get any peace is sitting in the car. So, yeah. I'm not really going anywhere. Just driving around the block.
So Facts and Stats says big up Lee, Matt, and always Si. Come on, you Spurs. Yes, Facts and Stats. Thanks for coming in. And who's going to record the protest on the 15th? Well, I'm going to put something out live. I'm going to see if I can get some of the fans we know who's going. We'll send them our link so we can get them on the channel, and so we'll feed it live somehow. We'll try and think of something so we can get it on and show people on the channel. So thanks for everyone who's tuned to tonight from Facebook, from YouTube, from Insta, from Twitter, guys. Absolutely fantastic following again tonight. We've had some good viewings again. Thanks to Lee for coming on for the first time, but it won't be the last. We'll have you back on, mate. Absolutely. There was a comment in here actually. I'll quickly, if I can see it, if I can find it, Lee, before you go out, mate. Actually, my cousin left it. Where was it?
If it says I look like Phil Jupiter, so don't bother. I've heard it all before already.
No. He said, Mark says, Lee, you know what you're talking about. You should be full time right next to Simon every week, mate. I hate Spurs, but I don't mind speaking football on a good stuff out loud. So he said you're talking good stuff. You know what I mean? So absolutely.
That's a positive then. And that comes from a Chelsea fan, right?
Yes,
is he a Chelsea fan?
Yeah, he's a Chelsea fan.
You don't often hear sense from a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, I'll take the compliment.
So once again, Lee, thank you so much for coming in, mate. Absolutely. Matt, nice one for popping on. Saying hello, mate. I know you're a busy bee. But so guys, if you want to follow us again, guys, I don't know what we've got. I know we've got something planned for Saturday. I want something planned for the protest on Saturday, guys. I'll let everyone know what we're doing. I've got to ask a few people, see if they can do it with us.
Got a game on Sunday as well.
I've got a game on Sunday coming up. Yeah, so I'll do the preview as well, probably Friday. So yes, guys. So keep tuning, guys. Thanks for everyone for the 500 subs so far. Whoever's subbed to the channel, thanks, and keep supporting the channel, guys, and get it out there and get as many people on board with us, guys. We only just speak rubbish on here. I don't know. We're 500 people following us. Do you believe it? Us talking rubbish.
No, it's brilliant. No, I appreciate everyone that watches. And,
absolutely.
It was great news to wake up to this morning. So I thank everyone for that.
That's nice to know. So Lee, so we've been Probably Hotspur TV. I've been Simon. This has been Lee, the Dorset Spur guy. Go and follow him, guys. YouTube, Insta, Twitter. He's on everything. Go and give him a follow. This has been my co-host Matt. So we'll end it with this, guys. Where we'll sing a song at the end, guys. So guys, good night, God bless, and we'll see you again probably Friday now, guys.